If, like me, you cannot afford a foil drive or to ride behind a boat, and in your spot there are no constant waves or constant wind, then the only solution to learn pumping is to learn dock starting. I believe that dock starting it's a bit easier to learn than pumping, also because at the beginning you will for sure start more than you pump. But I also believe that you really need to focus on dock starting to be able to get on top of the board in the right position more often, so that you are able to pump without wasting your time and just running on the dock, jumping on the board and swimming back to the dock. If you focus on dock starting first, and then once you're able to complete 10 dock start out of 10, you switch your focus into pumping, it's gonna be much easier because you will overcome this first barrier, and then once this movement, this dock start movement is implanted in your brain, you can focus on pumping only, because it's gonna be natural for you to get on top of the board. I didn't do that, and in fact I wasted a lot of time. Because I was jumping on the board, I was so focused on the dock start that I was jumping on the board. Maybe I was able to get on the board in the right position, but then my brain was too slow and I couldn't switch my focus from the dock start to the pump. So I was on top of the board, but I didn't know what to do, and I was just randomly jumping on the board. So please learn dock start first, if it's the only solution for you to pump, and then switch your focus into pumping. There are 6 steps that you need to follow, and I promise that if you follow them all, you will be able to complete 10 dock start out of 10 by next week. I swear, I promise you. The first is the land training. I know it's boring, I know it's not super exciting, I know you want to get on top of that board on the water, but really, practice first on land and you will save so much time. While to simulate pumping on land, it's quite hard. I believe that the only solution is to snowboard or to skateboard. On the other hand, to simulate the dock start on land, it's quite easy. You just need a couch or something, and of course your board. So take your board, place it on your couch or on any other surface which is around 50 centimeters from the floor. Then take some duct tape and place it where your feet will go. So your back feet needs to be approximately between the mast and the front wing, and consequently your front foot will be shoulder width apart from the back foot, so approximately 40-50 centimeters, it depends on you. And then practice the technique that I will explain you in step 5. The second step is to find the right spot. So I'm gonna describe the spots from the best to the worst. So best case scenario, you have a large floating dock, so you have nothing underneath it. You have flat water. The dock is like 20 centimeters from the surface, and you are in deep water, so at least 1 meter 20, 1 meter something under you. So you're not destroying your board against the sand or against the rocks. If this dock is inside a marina or an harbor or on a lake, it's even better, because that way you always have flat water and you never have waves, wind and anything bothering you. If you don't have a floating dock, you may have a fixed dock. It's a little bit harder because you need to avoid the pillars, but still it's something. But again, if it's like 20-30 centimeters from the surface, it's better, because the higher it is, the harder it is to run on it with the board on your hands. Then, if you don't have a fixed dock, if you don't have a floating dock, if you don't have anything, the other solution is the ladder. It's a solution that I'm using myself, and it's not the best solution because the ladder itself it's quite expensive, and then you need to take it on the beach and mount it on every time, and it's time consuming. It takes me like more than 5 minutes to set it up and put it in the water, and more than 5 minutes to take it back in the beach and disassemble it. And also it's made out of aluminium and iron, so in the long run, like after 6 months or so, I will probably have to throw it away because the salt is ruining it. So it's not the best solution, but if you only have a beach and the water is too shallow to beach start, then the only solution is the ladder. Another solution, if for example you are on a lake, there are no docks, and you cannot place the ladder because the water is too deep straight away, you need an SUP. I've only heard about it, but I've heard of people who are putting like a large SUP in the water. They are fixing them like with anchors or with ropes, and they are dockstarting from it. But of course, you are super close to the water, so you need to jump higher, and it's hard to jump high because it's super unstable. So I've only heard about it, and it's only an idea. I wouldn't recommend to do it. Probably it's better to rock start, so to start from a rock than to start from an SUP. And it's also cheaper and easier to set up. So if you don't have a ladder, maybe you can find a rock. But again, it's gonna be super hard to learn dock starting and pumping if you're jumping from a rock. It's like the last step. It's like the last step before beach starting. So it's hard, it's way hard. Then the third step, and I believe it's one of the most underrated, but yet one of the most important, is to study and visualize the right technique that I'm going to explain in step 5. Really, with every single thing that you learn into these hard disciplines, you need to implant the drill in your brain and to visualize yourself doing it. Really, don't underestimate this step. It's so important to just sit there, close your eyes, and visualize yourself doing what you just learned, so that when you will go on the water, you will already have this drill in your brain. And another thing that you might find useful is to repeat the drill aloud while you're doing it. So while you're dock starting, you just repeat. For example, what I do myself is keep the board high, run, jump high on the board, stay low, look forward. This is what I'm thinking about when I'm dock starting. Of course, the more you do it, the more you succeed, and the more this movement will be implanted in your muscle memory. So it's gonna be easier and easier, and you won't need to repeat aloud the drill every time. But at the beginning, it's very useful. Listen to me. Step 4. Unless you're using like a super small foil, like less than 1800 for a mid aspect foil and less than 1600 for a high aspect foil, you don't need to run. Really, you don't need to run. You just need to do these 2 steps. 1, 2, jump. You don't really need to run. You don't really need that much speed. You just need a little bit of momentum, because then you will be able to gain speed and to accelerate once you're on the board. It's easier to accelerate once you're on the board than to jump when you have an higher speed, because it's harder to place the feet in the right position. And finally, the 5th step, the technique. So we say that you need to run. How you are holding your board when you're running? I found myself very comfortable by placing my back hand behind the board and my front hand on the side of the board, approximately at the level where my front foot will go. Okay, so you are running, one step, and while you are doing your second step, you move your hands and you place them almost where your feet will be. So you already know where your feet will be because maybe you have the duct tape and you practice it on land, so you know where your feet have to be, okay? You don't need to place your hand exactly where your feet will be, but slightly outwards, okay? So for example, your back hand will be a little bit more towards the back of the board, and your front hand will be a little bit more towards the front of the board, so that you have the room to place your feet once you jump, okay? So you move your hands, and in a fraction of a second, you jump. But be careful, you don't need to press the board, because otherwise the board will sink. You need to jump high using your legs, okay? So you're not sinking the board. And also, there are two super important things that were preventing me from succeeding. And these things were, first of all, you need to keep your board horizontal. It might seem like normal, but trust me, it's not, because when you're focusing on so many things, you forget this basic thing, okay? So focus on keeping your board horizontal, because if your board is not horizontal while you're jumping on it, for sure you will sink. You will not be able to recover it. Because if the board is not horizontal and you put weight on it, it's gonna gain speed, but it's gonna sink directly. And another super important thing that really helps you placing your feet in the right position, which by the way is the hardest part of dog starting, is to look exactly where your back foot will go on the board, so that it's easier, it's more natural for your foot to go there, because you're looking there. If just like me, you're kind of bulky while you're jumping on the board, maybe you're putting too much pressure on it, just visualize yourself and imagine being like a cat. Cats are super agile and super gentle in their movements. You need to do the same. You need to be super gentle, you need to be agile, light, like a cat. And then, finally, the sixth step, which is what to do once you're on the board. So I'm not gonna explain how to pump, because this is another video, but what you need to do. As I said, I really suggest you to not think about pumping at first. Remember that you're just focusing on dog starting. So as soon as you get on the board with the feet in the right position, your goal is to glide. But keep in mind two important things. The first is that you need to look forward. Imagine when you learned how to ride a bicycle. I bet that at the beginning you were looking at your front wheel and you were crashing. As soon as you started looking forward, you were able to ride a bicycle. And it's the same thing. You need to look where you want to go. You don't need to look at the water or at your feet. And the other thing, which is even more important, is to stay low, to bend your knees. First of all, because if you're like a cat, as we said, you are trying to be light on the board, okay? And then, if you keep your knees bent, you will glide longer. It's gonna be easier for you to keep the balance, and of course, you need to have your knees bent for the first pump, because the first part of the first pump is to release your weight from the board, to allow the board to rise. So if you need to have your knees bent at the beginning, keep them bent directly after the jump. That's it. I promise you that if you follow this 6th step, you will double your Dockstart success ratio by the end of next week. I promise you. Really. And then, after next week, you can focus on pumping. I hope that this video was helpful. Let me know if you have any other question in the comment below. I would be more than happy to help you. And share this video with whoever you think might find it useful to help me in my mission to help aspirant pump foiler to succeed. And keep watching my videos every Monday and Saturday at 7:30 p.m. UTC. Also because I'm writing a guide, a complete guide on how to pump foil, and I'm planning to giving it away for free, at least at the beginning. So keep watching to make sure you don't miss it. That's it. Thanks for watching. I talked even too much. See you in the next one. Bye.